The counseling center in New York wasn't anything like I imagined. I thought I'd be sitting in some sterile, clinical room, cold walls and colder stairs. Instead, I found myself in a makeshift community, people just like me, all different ages, backgrounds, and stories, but all carrying their own invisible weights. It was strangely comforting and disconcerting at the same time. I wasn't used to sharing rooms with vulnerability, least of all my own. It was Adam who'd urged me to come here. You need to be around people, he said, not just in a packed city or at crowded bars, around people who get it, who know what it means to lose yourself. At first, I resisted. Another city, another attempt at starting over? It felt like just one more opportunity to fail. But Adam had this way of cutting through my doubts, planting tiny seeds of possibility in my reluctance. And now here I was. The session started small, icebreakers and surface level questions. But the more we met, the deeper we dug. One of the counselors, Mara, had this uncanny ability to coax the truth out of you without you even realizing it. She wasn't much older than me, maybe mid-30s, but she carried a presence that made you feel both safe and exposed at once. Her directness was sharp, but never cruel. One afternoon, Mara walked into the center with a stack of blank index cards. Her eyes scanned the circle, warm but unflinching. Today, she said, we're going to write the thing you're most afraid of confronting. Then we'll share it. There were audible murmurs, protests from a few in the group, fidgeting from the rest. Me? I stared at the blank card in my hand like it was the enemy. My mind was chaotic, darting between fears so quickly I couldn't isolate one long enough to pin it down. Failing, being alone, letting everyone down. They all swirled together in a dark storm. But Mara stayed calm, her quiet confidence holding the group together. It doesn't have to be perfect, she said, just honest. I put my pen to paper hesitantly, my hand trembling. In the end, I wrote, I'm afraid of failing again. I'm afraid my best days are behind me. I'm afraid I'll never find my place in the world again. When it was my turn to read it aloud, my voice cracked before I even began. Narrators breathing, heavy and slow, as they gather courage to speak. The words felt heavy, like speaking them out loud might make them more real. But the moment I said them, something unexpected happened. I made eye contact with the people in the room, and nobody looked at me the way I feared they would. No judgment, no pity, just understanding. Quiet nods from faces who had their own versions of my fears. I realized that I wasn't alone in this floundering, painful state. Everyone here was fighting something, just like me. But it wasn't Mara or the group's acceptance that really shook me. It was what followed later that week. Mara sat me down after one of the sessions and said, "You're good at naming the big fears, failing again or finding your place in the world. But I think there's something more personal underneath that." I swallowed, feigning ignorance. "What do you mean?" She tilted her head slightly, like she was turning the gears of some invisible machine in her mind. "All those are symptoms of something deeper, don't you think? Dig a little. What's the one thing you're certain you can't face?" This time, she didn't give me a piece of paper or make me perform in front of the group. It was just me, her, and the question hanging between us like a fragile thread. And then it hit me. I wasn't just afraid of failing again. I was afraid of succeeding and still feeling empty. Success had always been my identity, my currency in the world. But what if I did find my footing, rebuild my life, and the hollow ache remained? What if I was fundamentally broken, and no amount of achievements could repair it? Saying that out loud felt like tearing myself open in front of her. But Mara didn't flinch. She simply leaned forward and said, "So your fear isn't about failure. It's about what happens if there's nothing worthwhile waiting on the other side." I nodded, unable to speak. "That's a hard one to carry," she continued, her voice softer now. "But I want you to think about this. Your worth isn't tied to what happens next. You have value regardless of what you do or don't accomplish. That's the part you're scared to believe, isn't it?" She was right, of course. The version of myself who'd lost everything, the city, the relationships, the certainty about my future, that version of me felt irredeemable, like a shattered vase held together with duct tape. But if Mara was right, I didn't have to build my value on something as fragile as outward success. I just had to find a way to believe it existed. That was a few months ago. I still have my bad days, my doubts, but something shifted in me that day in Mara's office. I stopped running from my fears and started confronting them, one excruciating admission at a time. And it hasn't gotten easier. Not really. But I'm walking forward anyway. So, to answer the question I asked myself in that group session, did I have the courage to keep going? Yes, I did.